good.
Good. All right. Did I hear
There
right?
you
I'm
are.
the writer.
You are red lights on. Go ahead when ready, buddy.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. All right. So, yeah, how you been?
Good. I've been
Good, good.
good, just
Yeah.
staying in the gym.
Mhm.
Haven't left the gym really, honestly. Just been working. So
Right.
waiting for the announcement.
Correct. Yeah. So, I know it was a long journey to get back to even where you got to with fighting Natasha Jonas and then beating Sandy Ryan. Just how good it feels that now you have these nice run of big fights in a row, as opposed to having to fight to get to these moments.
Yeah, it's definitely been like a rough 2 years. I mean, I learned a lot about myself. I made some moves in my team that are gonna completely change my career. I'm very happy with where I am right now. It took a while to get there, and even after getting myself in position with Jonas fight and believing that I won and then having to reroute myself, but I'm in a good place now, and I get through Sandy one more time,
Right.
even better, really solidify, shut up the haters who are trying to say that it was a fluke and that she only won or I only won because she was distracted mentally from the paint situation. Like
Right.
I want to shut that all up
Mhm.
and prove them wrong and do it right, do it even better, and then I'm set to fight for undisputed. Like there's just really don't see how that we could get around that. Jonas
Definitely.
and Price are unifying, so it seems like it's all kind of lining up perfectly.
Yeah, so that was I was going to bring that up later, but I'm going to bring that up now. How much do you
Okay.
like the fact that they're fighting? What is it? 3 weeks? Well, once this is announced, 3 weeks before. There's no excuse to not have undisputed after that.
Right. It's very ideal. It's not like either one of us have to take a filler fight in between,
Right.
trying to wait for the other one to get ready. Like it's going to line up perfectly. So it's a really ideal situation for me. I'm in a great position. I gotta, get through Sandy and perform and um, get to that undisputed fight that I failed to get to in at lightweight. So it's a really big year for me. It's important. I'm excited.
Gotcha. So I've spoken separately with Natasha and Lauren both before their last fight in December and again afterwards. They both mentioned that the absolute goal for them is undisputed in 2025, and they both believe they're going to fight you for undisputed. So now,
Great. I'm glad they believe in me. I'm glad they believe in me. I'm I think that's like a no-brainer. Knowing us women and how us women work, like we are never shying away from the big challenges. We all want to be undisputed. So
absolutely.
props to the girls that I've gone up against and all the girls in this division. Like I'm never afraid that it's going to be hard to get the fight done. Even when I was trying to get the rematch with Jonas, she wasn't the problem. She was fully on board. It's just other people. So wasn't worried about that, but I'm happy that we're all fighting in March and we don't have to wait. We can get this fight done. Like again, it's going to be a really big year for me. So but I'm happy they both think that I'll win. That
Yeah.
feels cool. I don't necessarily know who's going to win their fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think they're both great fighters. And, maybe Jonas has a little bit more of the ring experience as a pro, but, you know, Price is no newbie to the sport. She's been doing this a long time. She's looking strong. So we'll just see who has the better game plan.
Right. And not to shift too much attention off your fight, but are you surprised, like with you, obviously there's never any difficulty in promoting your fights because everyone seems to not like you up until at least the fight. I don't know why. I love you. Natasha and Lauren, are you surprised that there is like as much spice as there's been in the build-up?
With them two,
Yes.
um,
Seems pretty chippy so far.
I feel like it's like really the media pushing that. Like, I don't necessarily think that me and Jonas didn't have a big
Yeah,
rivalry.
that's what
Like,
I'm saying. Yeah.
she's generally a nice person. Price seems pretty quiet and sweet too. I've never had an issue with her. I mean, I say hello when I see her.
Right.
So I definitely think it's the media trying to push and drag a little bit out of them, but it's working. It's
Yeah.
working. So
Right.
we'll see. It's a good 50-50 fight. It's not like I think some people think that Lauren Price is a shoe in to win, and I just don't necessarily think that. So
Mhm.
we'll see. I'll be watching.
Absolutely. So now with Sandy, I know financially you were her only option for this next fight. Still, fighters find a way to avoid people like you who they know they're going to lose to. Was there any surprise that she took this fight, or did you kind of get the sense after September that she would have to run it back with you?
Oh no, listen, like I know what it's like to come off a loss and not get a rematch. So I was never ever thinking that she's not gonna accept this rematch. Of course she wants the rematch.
Right.
Of course she wants a chance to have that, that spotlight again and try and get her belt back. But
Mhm.
to me, I was trying to weigh all my options first a little bit.
Right.
I never really I never dismissed the rematch, because I'm about if the fans want to see it, and it was worthy of a rematch. It's fine, it was competitive and it was exciting.
Right.
But I wanted to kind of weigh my options and see what was going on. And obviously I wanted to unify. That was out of the option, because they were unifying in March. So that wasn't an option anymore. But then we sent Alicia Baumgartner an offer because I thought, okay, it's a good chance maybe to get that rematch finally done. I even offered to go down to like catch weight, so that there wasn't too big of a weight discrepancy. And she didn't bite. It was just too difficult to get done. So we had to move on. And then there was the Sandy rematch or someone like Chantel Cameron. And I think that we just thought Sandy Ryan would be a bigger fight. And bigger payday and all the good stuff that everyone wants in a big fight. So we decided to go that direction.
Got you. So I know going into the first fight, the point of contention was the way Sandy, she came to Vegas. You felt betrayed. You said, by the way, part of your no longer team were involved in hers. Do you like the fact that I know I can't write this till after Thursday, but that it's now returning to where, the ground zero in that regard?
I didn't even think of that. I'm just excited that it's in Vegas because I really never fought in my hometown. Like, if you think about it, even when Top Rank had my homecoming, like back in the day when I fought Han,
yes,
they put it in Orange County. I grew up in the Valley, never been to Orange County in my damn life. Also, I had been living out of LA for 10 years, training for the Olympics, going to the Olympics, living in Colorado, living in Michigan. So, I didn't really feel like that hometown vibe, but I've been living here now for 2 years. And there's, it's a mecca of boxing. I'm from, having people be able to come so easily from LA and just my gym and everything here. It just feels like kind of like my homecoming to me. So I'm extremely excited that it's here. I think it's, definitely going to be a packed house, which is great. And, makes it easy for Sandy too, since she's here.
Definitely. So I don't make a habit of looking at other women, but I can notice your arms. You look like the fight is next week. Yeah, you do. You look cut up.
I'm like so ripped right now, and I'm literally close to weight. Like I'm like close to weight because I haven't left the gym. I've been training, just working on stuff. If you know Kofi Jantua, like his workouts are long and mentally draining because it's not so much like we've been working really, really hard because obviously you don't want to peak too soon, but just working long hours and trying to just perfect my punches and get better. So I feel that way. Like I never once says like, oh, I'm better this time around. Like, no, I'm genuinely better. I fixed so much of my technique and just rotating more into my shots, less stiff. And I'd only been with Kofi for a couple months going into that first fight. So I really hope to see like a significant difference in my build and just in my strategy and in my punching power going into the rematch.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you say that is like the key factor more so than growing into the welterweight division, just finding that perfect connection with Kofi?
Oh yeah, like I'm building that connection with Kofi and it's literally the best thing ever. Like I'm so grateful that everything happened with Kay, that he decided to bring Sandy in. Like it worked in my favor so much. I'm continuing to grow and learn and become better even at 34 years old. So there's that. And then still like settling into this welterweight body. And finally being able to put on that muscle and use my weight properly. It was like I was fluctuating so much when I was cutting and my hormones were out of whack and I feel so much better.
Absolutely. So I know at one point, I forget if it was before the Sandy fight or before that, you had mentioned that it might have even been the Natasha fight or afterwards, but like you mentioned, maybe sometimes you thought about possibly toning it down leading up to a fight because you realize how contentious it could be. Do you expect this one to be fully contentious or is it just going to be like whatever happens in the buildup happens? I know you don't go out of your way to look for it. I'm not saying.
I don't think there's any way around it. I think it is what it is. Again, like you see the rivalries that I do have, was nothing with Jonas. I'm not going to force it. This one, like it's there. So, and I tend to not have a very good filter once we get up there and start doing our thing. So I'm sure stuff will come out. She's here. She's training with Kay, despite the last build up saying that, I'm not working with Kay. I'm working with Flick. And now Flick's out of the picture. Kay abandoned her in their fight. Flick was in the corner. Now he's out of the picture, training her for this fight. I don't know the dynamic. I don't know if he's going to be showing up fight week, if he's going to be in her corner, if he's going to bail on her again and throw someone else in there. But, that's their problem now. Like I've been building and getting better and stronger with my team. And she's been, I don't know, doing what. So I don't know what. But I think it's going to play in my favor for sure. Having that strong team is so important, that strong corner.
Definitely. And then my final question for you, the thing I've always admired most about you, aside from our friendship, our terrific friendship, You're one of the smartest business people in the sport. So just how good it feels, like knowing every sacrifice you've made now has to a point where you don't have to chase after these novelty fights, these big fights, that you have become the money at your weight, that people actually have to come to you. Even like Katie Taylor, obviously she's, I guess would be the A side, but she would still have to come to welterweight to fight you.
Yeah.
That.
No, it feels good to finally be back in position. Sometimes you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially in the last 2 years when you kind of have those ups and downs. And I just had to, and I wasn't always positive. I wasn't always like, oh, I'm still gonna, be undisputed. I'm like, I wasn't sure, but I kind of just released those expectations, did what I had to do, continued to go and make the best fights possible. And that mindset got me back into this position. So I'm happy because now I'm on the trajectory to fight for Undisputed. I get through Sandy again, and it's all going to line up perfectly. So, maybe I went through all that bullshit for a reason. Sometimes you don't know why you went through some things for years after, but it's been rough. But I'm finally feeling like back to myself, and I feel better than ever.
Definitely. Well, the one thing I'm grateful for is that you've allowed me to be along for the ride every step of the way from your pro debut. So at least this is like a work relationship that I cherish. We're pretty close to the top of my list. So it's always.
I appreciate your write-ups. I always enjoy them. So thank you too.
And I'm going to make a point to bring my ass to Vegas for this fight. I swear to God.
Dude, if you miss it, our friendship is over.
Okay,
over.
I got it. It's on. Go.
I got it.
Always appreciate it.
All right, bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.